Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the Minute channel. This is gonna be a interesting video today. We are gonna be reviewing Final Fantasy VII, the remake. I just finished this game. I was trying to live stream this, but you know what? It didn't work out really well. I had other things going on and everything. I really decided to take my time with this game because I've been really critical of Final Fantasy in the last few years. I can admit that when it comes to, well, actually Square Enix in general. When it comes to Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy 15 or this one, I've been really critical because it's disappointed me over the years, and I was really looking forward to this one as far as what the changes were gonna be, what's it gonna be like, what was it gonna like, and what I expected from this game. So let's go ahead and talk about this, and hopefully we can go through everything here. And yeah, we're gonna start with the story. So Final Fantasy VII, the story. This game took me by surprise in many different ways. Honestly, when I started this game, I knew what to expect based on playing the original game on the PlayStation 1, but I have heard there were some changes here, and I thought that some of the issues were interesting. So the story revolves again around Cloud, who through a friend, he kind of gets involved with this group of rebels, I guess you can say, who is trying to fight this corporation, this massive corporation that is destroying the planet. So their goal is to destroy these reactors that are absorbing Maka, which is kind of like a magic energy from the earth. So that's their noble goal and everything. Of course, things don't go as planned. As the situation progresses, more things changes. You learn more about Cloud and about the group that you are entangled with and everything, and a lot of things happen throughout. You meet a lot of different characters with different backgrounds, different stories, and overall the story has a terrible pacing. And I'm sorry, a lot of people maybe were looking forward to a little bit nicer words, but the first few hours of the game focuses on building up character development, which is, by the way, very good. I think that the development, as far as what they were able to develop in some side characters, because originally a lot of these characters were just side characters in the original game, but they were able to kind of make sure that you care for these characters. Even when things happen and things go wrong and everything, you kind of feel for them, because you spend some time with, you spend like 10 hours with these characters, so you start kind of caring for them. On the other hand, there's this side quest and all this additional stuff that the game kind of, let's face it, this game wasn't meant for 30 hours long in the original PlayStation 1, so it feels here and it draws drag here for 30 hours. This is painfully 30 hours of kind of trying to get through things to get to the next thing and everything. A lot of the side quests are really stupid fetch quests, which I dislike a lot. Whether it's any game, whether it's this game, Persona finally got rid of those fetch quests. So all these RPGs that have this simple quests that I really don't like, and there's a ton in these games regarding that kind of stuff. So unfortunately that happens in here. However, overall the story again does pick up as the story progresses. I was actually talking this in my podcast and everything. The story does pick up a little bit. However, at least I think it picks up like 3/4 of the game when it kind of like starts to rush out on everything, because they realize the story has to pick up and things have to happen and everything like that. So pacing doesn't really work out for me, but I do think that there's a lot of interesting stuff here. The story is convoluted, and this is something that Nomura is really known for. Several Final Fantasy games, as far as Kingdom Hearts, have the same issue, and this issue is still prevalent here. I don't know what the thing is here that they should. I don't know if they need to have somebody kind of go over his work or something like that, but it's still very convoluted. And although I did like a lot of the changes, a lot of the different stuff that they did, I don't think the story worked really well for me. I don't want to discuss spoilers because it's not a spoiler video, but I think some of the changes were really welcome, and some of them didn't really make sense, because I can only imagine being a new person who never played Final Fantasy VII, and it may be really confusing, some of the stuff. This game doesn't really try to explain anything, and I know this is the first out of 3 games, possible 3 games. I think that's what I heard. However, this game doesn't really attempt to kind of catch people up to speed, especially because you are trying to get people invested for 3 games. So I think more explanation needed to be done in this game. Even as somebody has played several Final Fantasy games, and I kind of know the terms, and I kind of know the story of Final Fantasy VII. Obviously, it's reworked in this one and everything, but I still kind of was like, there's some things that are new here that I need to know about, and they don't really explain really well. And the game doesn't really explain at the end. It really doesn't. Some stuff are really left open, obviously for future future games, hopefully. Some stuff is just but yeah, it's interesting here. I'm gonna give the story an 8 out of 10. I think this was a pretty interesting story. There was a lot of really convoluted parts, but I think that story overall was really interesting, and there was a lot of really good parts for it. Part of it might be my nostalgia, but part of it I do think that it's legitimately something interesting here. Moving into that, we're going to talk about the gameplay. Now, gameplay is interesting in this game. I think gameplay was the most debated part whenever this game had announced. Originally, this game was, as a lot of you know, a turn-based RPG. Obviously, it changed from turn-based to action RPG, and a lot of people were curious as far as to what was going to happen with this game. And you know what, the action RPG type of gameplay does work for the game. I think it's interesting. I think it works well when it comes to hack and slash, and you can actually kind of slow down time to use your magic combos, and you can strategize and everything like that. So for the strategic point of view, this works well. The old system is still here, kind of sorta, and it does still work well. Overall, I think the gameplay was pretty interesting and pretty fun. I will say some things too that I kind of bother me. The game, although it doesn't force you to make side quests, you have to do side quests because you're gonna be under leveled. Otherwise, the game doesn't really allow you to grind because there's no area. This is not an open world game. This is a pretty linear game. Coming from Final Fantasy 15, which was almost completely open world the entirety of the time of the game, this game had the opposite issue, which is pretty much very linear with very little places to grind or to fight or extra. Pretty much you're on rails the entire time, just pushing you through the story and everything, and it does harm the gameplay in that kind of way. When I'm an RPG player, which I played hundreds of RPGs at this point in my life, I think, with all kinds of different stuff and everything, this one just really forces you to push the story so hard that sometimes you can't really enjoy the gameplay. Sometimes you just want to mess around, you just go to an area, practice a couple combos you want to do with other people and everything like that. The party system in this game feels a little obsolete. It only allows you to play 3 persons at a time. You don't get to get that 4th person, and it does feel like it lacks a little bit. I think the 4th person sometimes might have been good. You know, you just want to have more people. That brings me to a question: how are they gonna do it once you get more party members? Because this game grows over time, and there's a ton of people that join your party. So I'm really wanting to know how they're gonna work it out, so you can kind of you know, have more people in the party and stuff. I don't know how that will work out. We'll be definitely interested here. Overall, the gameplay is good. I think there's an issue with the camera as well. When I'm playing and I'm fighting with enemies in a closed space, the camera will shift around so much sometimes, but it will go into an area where you can't either aim because there's something behind you, and it won't let you kind of switch around or something like that, or the camera will just be locked in an area where you can't really see much and you will get hit or something like that. A third thing that I want to talk about in the gameplay is there is a lot of mini cutscenes in between a boss battle. This can disrupt the gameplay. This disrupts my gameplay style when I'm kind of buffing up and moving around and I'm about to do an ultimate combo, and then I get locked into a cutscene because the thing is gonna do its final form or whatever, and I lost my AP and I have to recharge again, and all this kinds of stuff like that. So it bothered me quite a bit because it happened multiple times. I was about to do a combo, the cutscene suddenly happens, and this happens multiple times throughout the story and everything. It does kind of affects the gameplay and everything. I'm gonna give gameplay an 8 out of 10. I think it's still pretty solid. I think a lot of the stuff really works well for me. And I think that the story, again, it's a good story, and the gameplay kind of mix up together, work okay for me. Okay, I think. Moving on, next we do have characters. Now, move characters from gameplay because there are some things that I want to talk about next within characters. I mentioned how we have a lot of different characters that you meet. A lot of them are side characters from the original game, which get a lot of development time in these ones. Whether it is Biggs or even, you know, just the whole party that you meet, all of them have Jesse, and everybody just has like these additional lines and this additional mini story, like you go to her house and you eat pizza or whatever. All this little stuff here I kind of add more to the characters. You kind of start caring for them and everything. I thought the character development at the beginning was really well done. However, Cloud, I don't know, he's only always been like this, but I feel like more character development on his side could have been good and appreciated too, kind of to see where his perspective comes from and everything. This game had a lot of stuff where it was a lot of flashbacks and a lot of nods and a lot of things to show and everything like that. Most of them needed to be a little bit more explained here, but I definitely love a lot of the new additions. Definitely looking at Tifa, for example, and looking at Aerith and Barrett, for example, the whole thing with him and everything. There's a lot of really good stuff. You see some kind of development over time with this character, so really like that a lot. I think when I get the characters a 9 out of 10. I think the characters were really well handled here. I think that was easily the strongest point of the entire game. I think that was one of the biggest plus of this remake, for sure. My next point and the last point is going to be performance. Now, performance is really interesting. Now, obviously this game came out on the PS4 and I played it on the PlayStation 4 Pro, so I play this game as the maximum capability of visual possible, and this game has an interesting thing that happens where it's both beautiful and ugly at the same time at parts. Now hear me out before you raise your pitchforks here. First of all, the game, it looks beautiful. It must render cutscenes. The cutscenes are beautiful. They're really well choreographed and directed. There's a certain aspect to it that makes you feel like you're in the scene. Everything just looks fantastic, really photorealistic. The characters design, the skin, you can even see like the burn and their faces and everything. It's really well done. I really appreciate all of that. Wonderful. Now, what I don't like is there is a lot of textures in the game that look like they were from the PlayStation 2. The wood, it looks really bad. The ground looks really ugly, especially when you are in the villages, the slums, and you're kind of walking on those areas and everything. They look really bad, and I was like, what is going on here? Why? And the problem is that because the game looks so photorealistic, when you are in these scenes and you're seeing all this stuff, it really just kind of takes you out of it. It really took me out of it a couple of times. I was kind of like, wow, the game looks so good, but it has some stuff that just bother me, and it just takes you out of the thing. Now the music, however, the music is fantastic. All the tracks in this is phenomenal. I really like all the good stuff that they kind of pulled. Original songs from original game remastered and remade and everything. The music is fantastic, and think that Final Fantasy VII has one of the best soundtracks of this year for sure, easily. And it was really well made. The voice acting is phenomenal. This is the first time that we actually get voice acting on Final Fantasy VII, the original game, not the additional stuff that we got and everything like that. And I think overall the voice acting was really good, very well done. One thing that I kind of wanted to complain about, because I talked about on rails and everything, and I think this will be more gameplay, but it kind of falls into performance as well. This game doesn't allow you to jump, and you're tied into this mini cutscenes whenever you're doing things like moving around, hopping on places, or when you're in crawling spots and everything like that. And there's a ton of this, and you have to watch the same cutscene of Cloud just kind of crouching in and going forward, or sneaking into really tight areas and stuff like that. I don't know. It's just cool the first couple of times you see it. It's kind of like it's part of the game and everything like that. But it can get tiresome over time, especially when things don't get triggered at the right time and you have to wait for the little blue square to show you that you need to go there or whatever. I did not like that at all. I don't know if, again, this kind of feels like performance to me because it doesn't flow well with the with everything, controllers and everything. It just doesn't feel well. I'm gonna give performance a 8.5 out of 10. Almost would like to give it a 9 because the cutscenes again look really beautiful, and the game itself looks good. It has a good feel to it. Honestly, this is an interesting remake overall. I'm gonna give the whole game an 8 out of 10. I think it tried in a little different aspects. I think the game was really well created in specific things in mind. I don't know if I agree with all the changes and everything. Again, some changes were warranted or needed. Some changes were really interesting to be made and everything. And I think this is an interesting start for a new trilogy of Final Fantasy games. If this is what it's gonna be, a Final Fantasy trilogy, I think that this definitely needs more elaboration for a lot of this stuff. So we'll be making a podcast with my good buddy David next week to talk more about this. But overall, I think this is a good game. I think Final Fantasy is a good game, and if you are interested in Final Fantasy 7, probably shouldn't be your first one, but I think that is a good place to start. I just feel like this one was made for veterans and people that already played the previous games, opposed to going into a new person. I'm kind of starting. This is probably the worst Final Fantasy 7 to start with. I think the original will probably be a better idea, just because this one just is aimed towards an audience that already grew with the game and kind of looking for more in the story, because this is what it does. It grows a story that has already been told before. But anyway, that is pretty much it for today, guys. If you do, please consider liking and subscribing. Let me know whether you love this game, you hated it, I don't know what you found in between. I still think this is a really good game, and it does have some pretty good stuff on it, so don't hate on me for this. It's just kind of my opinion on everything. But that's it for today, guys. I'll see you guys next time.